Good morning, friends. So, today, once again, you are welcomed in this online video classes. I hope that you are taking it seriously. Don't take it as a joke, or and don't consider it that it is not the serious teaching. We are making all efforts to educate you, to provide you notes, so that the loss which has occurred, which has happened due to the COVID-19, it could be, it could be, it could be filled, so that the time should not be wasted. I hope that you should maintain, you should keep all the precautions necessary for the COVID-19. As I told you earlier, also that circulate this message among the villages, the place where you live, that it is a pandemic, it is a serious disease, and there is no cure. The vaccine would take time to reach you. So by that time, take all the measures. Wash hands regularly, use mask, and also keep the social distancing of 2 meter. It is essential to avoid the virus. I hope that you will circulate this message among your friends, among your in your village, and in the far off villages, wherever you go or wherever you have contacts. So I hope that you are enjoying this online classes. As I told you earlier, we were discussing the Shakespearean sonnet When to the Sessions. It is a very interesting poem, because the way in which Shakespeare has paid tribute or compliments to his friends, I think it is very significant. I think in today's world also, we cannot give so much compliments to our friends as Shakespeare has done in the 5 centuries ago. I hope that you will take it seriously. Now, the things which we have left, we will start from there. We were discussing that how important he considers his friend. That's why that he start weeping as he has not wept before. This fact makes him more unhappy that he cannot meet his friend. He cannot meet his friend because his friend has died. His friends, once again, his friends had died. The change of time cannot return him back to life. The time is moving, but in any direction the time goes, he would not, his friend would not come back. The place which he had visited with his friend also haunts him. He cannot dare to visit these places alone. Look at the attachment, the nearness with which he has his friend, that how much he loves his friend, that the places which he has visited with his friends, if he goes there, the memory of his friends comes to him, and he becomes a very perturbed man, a very and full of you can say that the tears comes out from his eyes, and he cannot control himself. He expresses his sorrow by weeping in a fresh way. So he starts weeping as it seems to him that he has lost his friend just now, not many years ago. The poet describes his grief by giving an example of a borrower. Borrower means जब हम किसी से कर्ज लेते हैं, पैसा उधार लेते हैं, that is a borrower. He is unaware about the debt, but when we take some money, when we borrow some money, we know exactly how much money we has taken, and and how many days or years or months we have to return it. But here in this case, the poet says that his condition is just like a borrower who has lost, who has forgotten that how much money he has to repay. So again and again he repays. In what way he repays? That whenever he thinks, whenever the sweet memory comes, the sweet memory of his friends comes to him, he starts weeping freshly. It seems to him that he has lost his friend just now. So, like a person who has who has forgotten about the debt, about the कर्ज, उसने कर्ज कितना लिया, पैसा कितना उधार लिया है, he pays his debt again and again. In other words, the death of his friend is such a great loss that he is unable to forget him. Which whenever he recalls the memory of his friend, tears comes out from his eyes. He expresses his sorrow from beginning till end. So in a fresh way, he starts weeping, and from beginning till end he expresses his sorrow. So in this way, the poet pays his compliments, his tribute on the death of his friend. And in the concluding line, which is also called a couplet, because these are two lines. The whole poem is a sonnet, it is a 14 lines poem, and we have three stanzas of 4 lines each, and in the last there is a couplet, there is a 2 lines which rhyme in the same way. What concept is conveyed, what message is given in the cover, in those 2 lines, because that is the summary, that is the synopsis. In short, after describing all the qualities, all the things in the 3 stanzas, he concludes what is his condition, what is his conclusion, and what is the result of this recalling the past memory, and what happens to him, what conclusion he gives. In the concluding lines he says, the poet pays handsome tribute. Tribute means homage, श्रद्धांजलि जिसे हम कहते हैं, to his friend. The writer says that whenever he remembers his friend, he forgets all about his present suffering and losses. That whenever he remembers, whenever he recalls the memory of his friend who is no more in this world, what happens? He forgets all about his present suffering and losses. The poet wants to say that the loss of his friend is such a great loss to him that the present sufferings and losses become unimportant or become insignificant, because the death of his friend is such a great loss to him that after recalling, after remembering in such a long years, whenever he recalls the sweet memory of his friend, he becomes so perturbed, he becomes so conscious of his loss that he forgets about his present. The present suffering and losses become insignificant, does not become so important to him, because the loss of his friend is such a great loss to him. You can take it, you can think about it in this way. For example, that if a person has lost 1,000 rupees note, which is I think is no more in use, you can say that 500 rupee note. If he drops somewhere the 500 rupees note, he would be very, you can say that, become very disappointed, and many times He also hears the father and mother says that you are not careful. So he become very conscious that it is a great mistake he has committed. Uh, but the same person, the same boy, when he drops the 10 rupees coin, uh, so that 10 rupees coin loss would not be so important in comparison to 500 rupee note, because that is the magnitude, that is the size, that is the value. Uh, uh, so similarly, you can say that the loss of his friend, he gives so much focus, so much importance to his friend, that whenever, after a gap of so many years, he recalls his memory, so he forgets all about his present suffering and losses. So this is the poem, and you should read it aloud. And I would send you the notes in the PDF form on your WhatsApp group. So read it and try to copy it, and don't photocopy it, but I would suggest you that you should write it down, take a print and then write in your notebook, because in this way you would have a practice of writing. Listening is good, but you should also do some practice of writing. So that would be more significant for you for the examination point of view. So keep on watching and listening, and I hope that you will enjoy. You're enjoying the life and the teaching. Thank you.